Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike with another MLS Updater, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at Austin FC, finishing second in the Western Conference after finishing second bottom last season in their expansion year. It's been an impressive season, one that's come with MVP candidate quality, as well as a lot of excitement going forward, a lot of difficulties in defence. But we've got Michelle Sanchez with us today, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the season that's been and why Austin FC should be considered right up there for a MLS Cup victory come the end of the season. Okay, I'm here with Michelle. Michelle, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Really good, thank you. Really good. Looking forward to talking about Austin FC. Can you let everyone know exactly like your experiences following the club in these couple of years in MLS?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Austin. I've been following everything Austin FC from the beginning, dating back to 2019. It was very I guess like a miracle for all of us. There was a lot of people supporting Austin FC's move over here from the beginning, which is why they were able to sell out season tickets, which is why they were able to sell out last Friday the playoff ticket for fans. So there's a lot of demand here. What I do personally, I am a sports producer and reporter in Spanish language for Telemundo Austin, but I also do a little bit of English as well. And so everything Austin FC, I mean, they're doing really great this season. They're, as of late, they haven't been able to win games because of the lack of goals, which was something that they corrected in the beginning, and then now they seem to find themselves a little bit in a struggle bus. But I also think that's because of the intensity of teams also wanting to make playoffs, so it's a little bit intense. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm born and raised in Austin, and been covering them from the beginning and watching them develop as a team.
And that's great. And how's the atmosphere around the city? How's the city embraced the club since its start in MLS?
Yeah, so being from Austin, it was always UT football, always UT Longhorns, and so that was like a weekend thing. And now it's very nice to see how the soccer community here, there was always that community here, but there just wasn't that team to follow. So everyone's really excited every time they play. People show up, they go to the game. If not, you go to your pub right down the street, and it's always a really great time. If you've seen it on TV, you probably will see that the fans are crazy. They really do bring and make the difference here, at least in Austin. It's such a small community that's growing and growing because the city was intentionally very small. But yeah, the vibes are always really nice. It's always a great time. Every time I walk through the tunnel to get on the field, you just feel the energy feeding onto you, and you can feel the excitement, how much these fans really see the vision that this club is doing, when it comes to making the playoffs, when it comes to, hopefully one day winning these big titles, and they can, and they can say they were here from the beginning. It's only season 2. Exactly. So it's awesome. I always say, if you're ever, if you're ever in Austin, definitely come to a soccer game, because you won't regret it. It's like a bucket list. For example, me, that I'm a Mexican, I went to El Estadio Azteca recently, for the World Cup qualifier, USA, Mexico. And, it's just one of the things that you get to check off of your bucket list. And so, yeah, so I definitely recommend it. It's really fun.
Excellent. Before we delve into the team and how they've been performing this year, how have the sort of the derby games been? How have the fans embraced the sort of competitiveness around Texas between the three clubs?
Yeah, there's always, there's Houston and Dallas, and they obviously have been here longer than Austin, so they feel like they're the big leaders in Texas. But there's a lot of rivalry, especially with Houston, with Dallas. There's definitely that rivalry between fans. And Austin is kind of seen like the little brother, but this season they won their first Copa Tejas after tying in Dallas. So the fans were obviously really excited. It puts a statement as to what Texas is kind of going to look like in the near future. And it seems like Houston is also trying to rebuild. Austin, I want to say, are a little bit of the go head to head with Dallas. But yeah, I mean, it's intense. They, I don't want to say hate each other, but it's definitely a big rivalry, and all teams really do bring it. Every time they play, it's intense, and it's always a fun game to watch.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. I guess you can't really talk about Austin at the moment without mentioning Sebastian Driussi.
Taking it again! Oh, he's a miracle worker! He's a game changer! And he goes to work once more. Driussi! The Argentine shining bright just when Austin needed it most. Sliding it in for Driussi, and he slots it home. It's Driussi! And there's the equaliser! It's Driussi, got hold of that one! And there it is! Sweet as you like. Good work from Driussi. It's Driussi!
Such an incredible season, an MVP candidate, obviously with 21 goals, 7 assists. He's contributed to 33% of Austin FC's goals. What has Josh Wolff done to make sure he's become this player so comfortable and so confident in the league?
Yeah, Josh Wolff, what he's done, he's really embraced Sebastian Driussi. He really respects him as a player, and Sebastian always will give his all every game, puts everything on the pitch. Sebastian Driussi is such a fun player to watch, such a good guy to talk to. He's very shy with the media, so I was very lucky to get a one-on-one interview with him. And he's, you can tell that his mentality is here. He does think he's very humble, so he does things with his team, always giving the credit to his teammates, but he understands that the spotlight is on him, and that he is able to make these goals, right? He is the playmaker. He's the person that he has 21 goals this season. As of late, he hasn't been able to score. I think he had a few opportunities last game against Vancouver, but there's a little rut that he's in right now. But with Rigoni coming in, I know he hasn't been able to get a really great start to the season. Josh Wolff expects him and Rigoni to kind of tackle that attacking, forward and just, go out of there. But right now, they're both kind of like trying to figure out where they're at, since they did play together prior to Austin FC. Yeah. But, what can I say about Sebastian Driussi? He's such a, he's so loved in Austin. What he's able to do for this team, what Josh Wolff really believes in him, really believes that he is a talented player. And you could see that on the pitch, that this guy, every touch that he takes, it's just brilliant. And the goals that he does, like it takes a certain type of player to, to be able to do that on the field. And it's, he's such a playmaker and really, he's great. Yeah, he's a superstar of Austin FC.
Yeah,
what can I say?
Yeah, definitely. And alongside, you mentioned Rigoni's been brought in to contribute to that. Diego Fagundes has had a really impressive season. He's been assisting very well. His free kicks have been incredible.
A night of heightened tensions. Fagundes! A night of heightened skills too.
And then adding Maxi Urruti up front, it seems like Austin now have that group of 4 that they really need, that like you say, maybe not so much in these last couple of games, but they've got that group that seem to suit the system that's been set up, and which is what's making them so dangerous.
Right, of course. You know, you could see it all season long, and that's kind of like a narrative that Josh Wolf tries to put onto the media. Like they've been able to do so much when it comes to Fagundes, Driussi, Urruti, you know, at the top, really making those goals early on in the season, which is why they find themselves in the, you know, number 2 spot in the West, and they clinched that. You know, when last season they were second to last. So it's definitely, you know, a big turnaround from last season, and they've been able to do that. I think Diego Fagundes is the most underrated player in the MLS. He's just magical when he comes on as well. He's able to contribute and change the style of play. And definitely, like, you know, when he can, he scores goals, but, you know, his assists are crazy. I think, you know, he's been able to make that difference this season, and which is why Driussi is in the spot that he's on. But, you know, hopefully these guys are able to find their rhythm again, to, you know, make it far in the playoffs, because right now they're having like a little slow start, and I don't know what that is, what's, you know, contributing, but I do expect, you know, they play here at Q2, so they will have home advantage, you know, that first playoff game. But, you know, they'll end the season here next Sunday against Colorado, and we'll see if, you know, maybe Driussi can, you know, make a hat trick. He would be
just get back into form a bit more.
It'd
be incredibly important. Like you say, you have home advantage. Though I was looking at the stats recently, and it's quite interesting that your away form is the joint best in the conference of LAFC, but your home form is the 6th best. It's been quite strange that there's very few draws for Austin FC. It seems to go like as the games go on, neither the home or away side seem to be able to hold on to a lead or hold on to a draw. So there seems to be a little bit of a lack of control there. Is there concerns going into the playoffs that if you're not getting that sort of 2-3 goal lead earlier on in games, that you can hold on?
Right. And I think that's something that Josh Wolf and the team are very aware. You know, last season, it was, you know, they had the worst, you know, record to travel, and then they were able to turn that around. But yeah, they seem to find themselves in a rut. But it's always this mentality that this team has. They take it game by game. They try not to get too ahead of themselves, and see, you know, what the future is, or, you know, what they're going to do in playoffs. So right now, they would argue that their focus is solely on Colorado, which I think it's great, but you definitely need to, you know, strive to look a little bit ahead. So, because the reality is, as you've said, they haven't been able to score early on in the game and really control it. It's happened a lot that, you know, they've been having to, you know, come back off of a 2-0 deficit, you know, and it just makes it harder, right? So why not control the game from the beginning? But I think they're still trying to find that rhythm. I think Josh Wolf needs to be a little bit more aggressive. We do have the worst, I think, defense in the MLS. That our defense isn't the strongest. So I think that's where all that issue also comes from. And it's something that, you know, Josh Wolf tries to address, but, you know, he believes in his guys. But definitely right now, the 2 center backs are Ruben Gabrielson and Julio Cascante. But I do definitely believe that once this season is over, the focus should be on the defense, because if you're having to come back from a 2-0 deficit, then it just makes it harder, you know, as you know, as the season progresses.
Yeah, it's putting a lot of pressure on players like Driussi, especially, to make sure you're outscoring teams each year.
Right.
One of the other parts I've seen is only 2 teams have conceded more goals at home than Austin. So you've still got a great record. You're second in the conference, but only LA Galaxy and San Jose have conceded more goals.
Right.
No one's scored as many at 41 home goals at home is incredible for the club, and so the fans to be cheering each week, and it's got you in this position. So I guess you mentioned there the defense have been an issue, and it's been an improvement on last year. Last year, obviously finishing second bottom in the conference to now finishing second in the conference is a huge change. Who, when you look at that, Stuver in goal seems to have really helped support that. Like you say, there's two central defenders will probably be replaced. It is early still, only a second year, so still building the roster to a description to a degree. But Stuver's had a massive impact on this on the defense this year. That's really helped get you over the line, I think. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree. I think Stuber is great. You know, he's had some plays where, you know, he's definitely messed up and he takes accountability to those easy goals. You know, they're just like bad luck, they would argue. But he has made a big difference at times where he's able to make those, you know, goals that, you know, save those goals, you know, from Austin really being down by a bigger deficit and having to come back, you know. But he's definitely been a different playmaker, a different, you know, he has his own role, obviously, in this team. And, you know, but, you know, but prior to coming to here, he wasn't a starter, you know, he had to really show up this, you know, the first season, and really convince this club that, you know, he was serious. And so he's earned his spot. There's definitely, I think, some room to improve on his end as well. But, you know, I think he's definitely made the difference. So, you know, he's a really great goalkeeper when he's, you know, 100%.
It seems to be sort of of those sort of top level teams in both conferences. He seems to be probably one of the busier goalkeepers. So he's mistakes may creep in at times with the sheer workload he has, but it seems that Sports really setting like maybe ahead of schedule, really, to because from the massive leap you've had. What were the sort of expectations at the beginning of the year? Like, I can't imagine everyone was expecting second place and home field advantage.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think Austin would stay in you know, end up in second place. I thought maybe a, you know, strong fourth place. But I definitely believe that they had a team that was going to make playoffs. But I think, you know, the expectation is like, you know, it's super new. So I think the expectation is for anyone just to make playoffs, and we'll see what happens, where Austin FC ends up. You know, obviously championships, it would be awesome, going all the way to the final and you know, winning the cup. That would be great. But realistically, you know, from what I've seen, I don't know if that will happen. You know, this team really needs to turn things around against Colorado and then really bring it, you know, at Q2 for the first match of playoffs. And then, you know, I don't know, they need to kind of be collective and really have that mentality, because, you know, when they do travel, it could either go really great or really bad. You know, Nashville, you saw what happened at Nashville, you know, just this weekend. So, you know, I think the expectations are set pretty low for them, if I am being honest. I think first round, if they win, great. If, you know, they don't, I think fans won't be as disappointed. I think they would be more proud that they made playoffs in their second season in MLS. But definitely, you know, you should always aim to go all the way.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I guess you can look across to Cincinnati on the other side and see how long it's taken them just to get off the bottom of the table to be competing for playoffs. So this is a huge turnaround. And going into this, like, into the playoffs, I mean, there still could be anyone. I think of Minnesota, Portland, Real Salt Lake, or Vancouver could be your opponents. Is there someone you think that's best suited, that you prefer as a group? Or is there one that you just whoever will take on?
I think at this point, it's just, you know, it is who it is. I think every team is going to bring it. As I've said, like, coming, you know, as playoffs, you know, that brink of making it, teams are starting to be more intense, and, you know, Austin just needs to be prepared and not get too exposed, you know, with these defeats as of late. But I think, as they say in the MLS, there's no team that's easy. And, you know, if they're maybe the worser teams, or the underdog, every team usually brings it in the MLS. So
Right.
I'm still learning that. I'm still pretty new in the MLS, world. But it seems like every team, you can't underestimate anyone. So I think any team is going to be a strong and difficult game to play. But they definitely do have home advantage. The fans are crazy, sell out. I think I saw tickets going up to $3,000.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be crazy, and the fans deserve it. So hopefully, they take a win the first game.
I can only imagine what the atmosphere will be like, a first playoff game in the city. The supporters, how they've been all year, to then have this will be incredible. And I think, like you say, like having a good game against Colorado leading into this will really help get the confidence back. You're definitely a team that know how to compete in the last 5 minutes of games, so there'll be that confidence amongst the fans, knowing that whatever you need in the last 5 minutes, the team will.
Of course.
To sort of sum up this where you'll be going into those playoffs, can you give us the why will Austin FC be competing in that conference playoff final? Why can they be an MLS Cup final winner?
Ooh, that's a strong argument. But I think what makes this team special is that this team is very united, and everyone really brings their own style of play, what they can make. When we saw that with Musa, who hadn't been playing, hadn't really gotten minutes, and then he scores the first hat trick for Austin FC. So
got plenty of running left in him. It's 4 against 3 here. Gabrielson has Fagundes open. Driussi trying to stay on side. It's Gabrielson who leaves it. GT on a hat trick. He's done it! First hat trick in Austin history.
Each individual player brings their own thing. Finley has also made a big difference, and this was a guy that had to earn his spot as well. And so I think now, when they're coming up towards the end, this team can definitely bring it. They just really need to believe it in themselves, and they really need to play aggressive from the beginning, not come out second half and then change the game or whatever. I don't know what's going on in their head, but they definitely need to be more aggressive. But you have Sebastian Driussi, who's a gem, so you get him on the right day, on the right a right pass, he will make those goals. And I think that's a strong suit. As I've said, defense would be a struggle, but I think Brad Stuver would make that difference as well. If he doesn't let a ball get past him, but definitely Wolf has a really great team in his hands, and some of these players will be able to make that difference. They've had enough experience in the MLS as well to know kind of what to do. Urrutia as well.
Exactly.
The guy's been, he's had a long career here, and so he definitely knows what it means when it comes to playoff time. You're either ready or not, and so hopefully these guys bring it, because they can do it. But,
definitely. I mean, we've seen how destroying LAFC at home not so long ago. There's definitely the quality there, and they're a very exciting team but especially for the neutral as well, being able to see a side that like to rely on the attack. It's always fun to watch.
Exactly. So if they can definitely control it from the beginning, like they did against LAFC, you're at Q2 if it's being nationally televised, that's all the energy that you need to kind of go into this and go head on.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for joining me, Michelle. Wish Austin FC a lot of luck going into those playoffs. If you'd just like to let everyone know where they can follow you on social media and check out some of your work, so that they know how to follow all the news on Austin FC going through the playoffs.
Yeah, so all my social media handles are Michelle S_TV, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I do things in Spanish, I do things in English. So it's always really exciting to follow this team, and it's exciting to have the league and the United States grow and grow, and soccer in general worldwide. So it's very exciting. If you're ever in Austin, please come to a game. It's always fun, and Austin is really a great city.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle, for that. Really appreciate your time coming to talk to us about Austin FC. Definitely a very exciting side going forward, and Sebastian Driussi very much up there as an MVP candidate, really in that two-horse race with Hani Mukhtar of Nashville. It'll be interesting to see if they can get back. A bit of form has dipped, so the game against Colorado coming up will be important just to get some of the momentum going again, so that things don't have to completely turn around once the playoffs kick off, when they finally find out who they're going to be facing in the first round. But it'll be great for the city to have the playoffs as a home game, to get the fans there in the stadium, who, as Michelle said, have been very passionate throughout the season, and for a new club to get this kind of support has been fantastic. So we'll look forward to seeing how the playoffs kick off for them. Thanks very much again for tuning in, guys. Please like, subscribe to the channel. You can follow me at Mike Rice 1983 on Twitter. Thanks very much again, guys. Look forward to speaking to you further as we hit some exciting playoff football. Cheers then. Bye.